If you can hear rain, that's because it's raining. Guys, it's that time. It's that time. It's that time. Since the last video, I have read 5 books. All here. Okay, let's do it. I'm so excited. These colours as well are so cute. So, the first one I read since, I think it was Crying in H Mart. I got this book for £4 in fucking Sainsbury's. And if you're American and you don't know what Sainsbury's is, it's the equivalent of fucking Walmart, okay? Well, kind of. I think Walmart's got more things there. It's basically a grocery store, like Whole Foods. So, imagine Whole Foods selling you romance books, you know? Okay, so what I got was The Spanish Love Deception. Here's the thing about this book. It's 4 stars. I would have rated it 4.5 or 5 stars, but it just, the ending lacked something. It was a bit flat, the ending, which I hate about books when they're flat, especially when the build-up is so good. And in this one, it was pretty good. I think there's mixed reviews about this because some people like characters that have a bit more depth to them, which I completely understand, and I'll actually talk about that in one of the other books that I read. But the thing about this book, and the thing about romances, like cheesy, cliche, typical romance books, is that you don't really, at least I don't need it, but you don't really need in-depth, serious characters. It's like watching a fucking chick flick, okay? You're not looking for an in-depth character whilst watching White Chicks, are you? I know that's not really a chick flick, but you know what I mean. You know? So, I gave it a 4 because the ending was just a bit flat. Does it mean the rest of the book isn't worth reading? No, I really enjoyed it. It became like a, what's it called? A comfort book for me. I don't know why, but do I have a crush on, what's his name? Aaron? Yes, I do. I have a crush on every single man in these books. Every single one. Not one of them has disappointed me yet. Alex, he was a bit boring, a little bit, but he was still very sweet. I think actually, what was that book called? Fuck, what was it called? Oh, You and Me on Vacation. That book actually needed more depth, if I'm being completely honest with you. I feel like this one was just so much more fun, and because that book was like a deeper plot in some sense, it needed deeper characters. But when your plot is just fun and cliche and cute, you don't need deeper characters. But it was still written well. I enjoyed it. I'd give it a 4 out of 5 just because it was enjoyable. And the sex scene in it, not as good. Nothing has come close to, oh my god, The Love Hypothesis. Woo! Those 2 chapters of pure sex, god damn. All of these boys' names start with A. I need a man with an A name. Because Adam in that book, scrumptious. Anyways, oh, this book. I read this because my mum got it and she was like, we should both read it. She read it and said she didn't like it and then gave it to me. It is The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. And it's funny because obviously this is like TikTok suggested. Some, actually, to be honest, a good majority of the books I'm going to read this year are going to be. But, and I saw one video where it was like, I never seen anyone talk about this book on TikTok. You should read it if you love romances. And it was this. I was like, oh, coincidence. My mum has this book. Yeah, it's a shit book. 3 max out of 5. 3 max. Here's the thing. This book, yes, it's unrealistic, which is what bothered my mum about it. it didn't bother me. I fucking read vampire fiction. So it doesn't bother me that it's unrealistic. A lot of romance stories and books are. But what bothered me about this book was that it had such deep subjects in it about abuse, about emotional abuse, about abusive relationships, stalkers. Like, it touched on so many, like, so many things in this were triggering for me coming out of a relationship like that. But that's not what bothered me. It was the fact that they touched on it and, like, nothing came from it. Like, it was so fake deep at points where it was like, I won't let you stalk me anymore, and it's just like, this isn't. I see where what you're trying to do, but you're not executing it well. Some points were accurate, I guess. You know, the panic attacks here and there, but I didn't like it. As I think, when you write a book about serious subjects, the serious subject kind of, most of the time, at least in my opinion, has to be the main thing that you talk about. Otherwise, you're using it as a plot device. AKA what this fucking book did. I wrote my first novel, and this is a big trigger warning for assault and things like that, was about assault. And it was a love story, but the main topic was assault because it's not a plot device. These things are real things that people go through. The story was about assault and recovering from assault whilst the main character got on with her life. So I don't like when people use things like that as plot devices, you know? And also in general, like, there was just no chemistry for me between the two of them. They were supposed to just fall in love, and it was just a bit like, you two don't suit. I could see them in my head. That's quite a good thing about me. I can see characters in my head when I read these books, and these two don't suit. Not just look-wise, but their personalities are so different that I'm just a bit like, do opposites attract? Because, you know? Yeah, this one, I didn't like it that much. It was written okay, which is why it gets a 3. But other than that, never again. No thank you. Next, oh my god guys, I did it. You're gonna be so proud of me. I went into the bookstore and I thought, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna read another Taylor Jenkins Reid book. I'm gonna do it, and I did it. And I picked up Daisy Jones and Six. Firstly, this cover is fucking disgusting. The UK covers are just so gross sometimes. Like, I need to get a dust jacket for like 4 of my books because they're so ugly. This one I'm just gonna fucking give to someone else because Jesus Christ. But yeah, I need a dust jacket. Anyways, so I read what the fuck? I read Daisy Jones and the Six. I can't believe I'm saying this. I loved it. Oh my god! 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 Listen, I'm not a Taylor Jenkins Reid hater. But I will die on the hill that Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo was the worst book I have ever read in my entire life. It was fucking awful. How that is the same author of this book baffles me. That book, there was not a single likable character, not a single relatable character. The plot twist was dull. The ending was shit. The entire, like, she couldn't describe for her life, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I think the only reason this book is so good is because she doesn't describe a single thing. It's just an interview. Like Seven Husbands, it's an interview. But in that, she actually describes the story. In this, it's literally like this all the way through. Just the characters' dialogue all the way. You can't see it, fuck, there you go. Just character dialogue all the way through. It's like having a conversation with someone. Or a script, which I write, so that's probably why I liked it. But my god, what a fucking book. What a fucking book. I loved it. The characters, relatable. The situations, relatable. I cried, I'll admit it, at some bits. I will not lie. It is such a good book. If you don't know what it's about a band, I think in the 60s, and they're having an interview in modern time about those times, about when they were big and famous, and it uncovers all the drama, and it's just very good. It's very, very good. It does talk about, you know, trigger warning, a lot about substance abuse, and a lot of cheating goes on in it. A lot of mixed emotions to go through with this book, but yeah, just very, very good. 5 out of 5. I fucking loved it, and I hate that I loved it, but I did. She redeemed herself, Miss Tate. Why can I not speak? TJR. She redeemed herself. Next, look how beautiful this cover is. Look how beautiful. Can you see? Anyways, look how beautiful that cover is. This is The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion. Joan Didion passed away recently, and for some reason I have a habit of like finding books in the house by people who have passed away after they've passed away. It's really weird. I did that with Thich Nhat Hanh, and his book was really good as well. So I didn't know what to expect from this. My mum didn't like it that much. She didn't hate it, but she didn't like it that much. So I thought, I'm probably not gonna like it. It's a book about grief. It's not fictional. It's about Joan Didion when she lost her husband, and I think her daughter was in hospital during that time. So it's all about grief, and as someone who is grieving someone who is still alive, as well as something that was lost, and something that didn't happen, and just like a bunch of things at the moment, this was so good for me to read. It's like, she doesn't give you this fake optimism or self-help. It's not like that. It's literally like her journaling her grief. And so when you read it and you're like, oh my god, yeah, I feel that way, I feel like this. You know, she makes you seem less crazy, because grief is a really mad emotion, or should I say bunch of emotions to go through. So I think I needed this, and I really did enjoy it. It's not a super thrilling, exciting, you know, page turner, so for that reason I'm gonna give it a 4, but honestly the book cover deserves a fucking 5. It's fucking stunning and beautiful, and I love it. So yes, I really enjoyed this very much. Lastly, we have Luster by Raven Leilani. I give up. Can you guys stop suggesting awful books? Not the people watching this, but fucking TikTok. And also BookTube. The amount of people who I've seen has said this is good. I don't think we're reading the same book. I'm sorry. Listen, I go on to Goodreads and something else, two apps. I have 2 apps for books and reviewing them. And so I went onto Goodreads and I saw my friend who goes under the name Sun review it. And they said exactly what I was thinking. First of all, this is obviously a book about black women, so it's not something I'm going to relate to off the bat. That's fine. I mean, I don't fucking relate to the Spanish love deception, and I still love that, you know? So I was like, that's fine. In fact, if anything, that made me want to read it more. I am consistently trying to grow my like knowledge on experiences of other races and people and things like that in general, so I felt actually more drawn to read it because of that. However, obviously that is not at all what is wrong with the book. What is wrong with the book is much more. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the genre of female hysteria, but it's a very big genre, or a genre that is growing more at the moment. For example, the main book that kind of covers that genre is My Year of Rest and Relaxation, which I haven't read yet, but I want to read. I've heard very good things about it. well, I've heard kind of mixed things, but you know, it's mostly got good reviews. And it's basically about women going insane and in general women's mental health. Again, a topic I'm well versed on and want to read more about. So it kind of, like, knowing that it was about that drew me to it. But there's such a fine line, I think, between writing about such a topic and then like executing it, because with this book I really didn't enjoy reading it. I was really excited to finish it, to just never pick it up again, because I think what I love reading about is things that are so raw and real. And for me, this definitely tried to be raw and real, but it didn't hit the mark for me. And here's why. She, the main character, I think it's pronounced Edie, has gone through a lot. It's clear she's gone through a lot of trauma, you know, has mental health issues of some sort. But what is her reaction, and I know everyone has different reactions to certain things, but her reaction to really normal, simple things was very cold and emotionless, and almost like she was a robot. And I do know that some people are affected that way and react that way, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna like it. Because it was just so, there was nothing to it. No, it's ironic that there is no emotional depth there, which I think is maybe the point, but I don't like that. Someone did also say, I went through a few reviews, someone did say that it's supposed to be uncomfortable, you're supposed to kind of be stressed reading it. I wasn't stressed, and I uncomfortable is one word you could use, but it was more so I was bored, you know, like I wasn't enjoying myself and I was bored. It's kind of like you go to a party and you think you're going to enjoy yourself, you have semi-high hopes, and you go and you don't enjoy yourself, and you're also bored at the same time. So you're like let down and you're bored. That's what reading this book is like. Don't get me wrong, some parts were really well written, and I could definitely see what the author was going for. I just don't think the story in itself was good. Like, the plot just wasn't good. The ending, I kind of expected to be more flat than it was, so that's a good thing. But it's just, my sister likes to say that she loves movies where nothing happens, and then she gives the example of like Lady Bird and things like that. Like, there's no beginning, middle and end. It's kind of just a series of events and series of time, and it's like that but less fun. Because I think with movies you can get away with that because of the visuals, the actors, the music. When it's a book, it's really hard to portray that same thing with a story or a plot that goes nowhere. So yeah, I was very bored and I didn't like reading this. So I'm just gonna give it a 2. Honestly, the flatshare, even though it was shit, was more enjoyable to read. So that's that. I'm currently reading, I'm actually at the very end of People Like Her. I can't remember who it's by, but it's a thriller. I don't read thrillers. I remember, I don't know why I blocked this memory out, but I remember when I was a kid I used to love thrillers, which is really weird because I hate them now. I don't know what kind of trauma went on there to get rid of that. But it's quite good so far, so I'm excited to do that. And then I'm going to read Clara and the Sun because my mum is currently reading that. And in the mail, I have the 3rd book of the Crave series by Tracy Wolff, which I'm so excited for. And so yeah, I have 3 books lined up at the moment, and I can't wait to get more, but my bank needs a rest. It needs to breathe. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I love you lots. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to stick around, feel free. You can go watch my other book reviews. I have a lot and a lot to come. So I hope you have an amazing day or weekend or week, whatever time it is this is up. I love you very much. Bye. Mwah. Hope to see you next time.